Alrighty, jumping right back into video 3 of the start to finish April card series. And I've got all my colors pulled for her dress and the vines and the roses. And the lists are here. And I am going to start with her dress, which I'm going to do in yellow. And I've got a whole bunch of yellows going on. But I'm going to start with the Y11. It's my lightest. And I'm just going to start working in opposite the light source. This is, once again, Happy Days from Crafty Sentiments Designs, and I've stamped her on Copic Express at cardstock with Memento Tuxedo Black. And I have the light source coming in from the right hand side of the image. So I'm going to start by laying my color down opposite that on the left side of her body. Down here. Now, we're going to imagine, because her leg doesn't start and stop here at the bottom of the dress. It actually is going up and underneath the dress here. So I'm going to use that. Think of this as the top of her thigh, and then the bend of the knee is here, and then the leg coming down. So I'm going to color in opposite that because it's going to be down in shadow on that side, but the top of her thigh will be getting the sunlight hitting it. Then as the dress dips down between her legs in this little area, it's going to be a little bit darker. And so this area that I left white, you can see kind of gives the illusion of that leg being underneath the dress there. And then we're going to do the same thing for this leg over here as it came out. So just the little dip here, continuing that, but we're going to leave this white and just hit the outside corner, or edges of that rather, and just underneath her dress there. Okay, so see how we've kind of created the illusion already of mass being underneath the material of that dress. So that's laid out where my darkest areas are going to be at the end. And now I'm going to work my way up through the colors, laying down colors. So Y13 is my next. And I'm just going to go right over top the 11. Just not quite as far out. And just start laying that in there. The 13 and 11 are pretty close, but there is enough contrast that I do use them together quite a bit. Okay. Now the 15. And I'm going to just keep going. A little bit less. Working opposite that light source. Yeah. Going to do this here. Creating that shadow on the back side of her leg there. Then in between her legs, don't want to forget that. And there. Then underneath the lace at the top of her dress, we're going to have a little bit of a shadow there as well. And there we go. And now the Y17. And this is our darkest in the combination. I am going to be throwing in a little bit of Y35 in here after this to help blend the 17 into the 15 a little bit more, and just to kind of tone down the brightness a bit. It's a little bit creamier than these really bright, the 11, 13, 15. So I just am throwing a little bit of that in too, but you'll see that in a second. So I'm just getting this in here. Okay, see I got that. Now I'm going to use the Y35, and then I'm going to just blend that right over top the 17. Okay, and now just working my way back down to the 15. Now I'm creeping more and more into that white area that I initially left. Okay, and the 13. I'm not going all the way back into the 17 and 35 with these guys. I'm going to just kind of blend into the 15 area, filling in that white. And then using the Y11, our lightest yellow, to completely fill in the white and finish blending those colors out. Okay. Now that I have that, I am going to take, while it's still wet, my Y35 and just reinforce all this back here that I want to be really shaded. Bring this down, create those little creases back there, and then this side of her torso, down here, underneath the dress there. Okay, I want my 17, the Y17, just really darken it up back here. Okay. Then I think I'll just skip down to a Y13. Kind of help blend those edges out a bit more. This is where it's just playing until you get the saturation that you want, the color, how dark, how light you want your yellow to turn out to be. And you just keep laying color until you got it where you want. Blending up, blending down. I'm going to keep it kind of nice and buttercup yellow like that. So I'm going to let that dry. And I'm pretty sure I'm done. I don't think I need to add any other yellow, so we'll put those away. And I am going to really quickly do an E40, 41, and 0 for her little white lace. Just going to take some E40 and lay that in, leaving quite a bit of white, just to kind of give the shadow down here. And then the E41, not as much, just over there in the darkest, kind of where it dips down there, and then down here. Quick, quick, quick. And just using the colorless blender in the white areas to kind of help the transition from that kind of gray brown into the white that we're leaving. Oh, and I missed some lace here. It's a little bit of E40 and the white, or the colorless blender. Okay. Let that dry. And one more hit of the E40 back here, just to give us a little bit more contrast in there and there. Okay, easy, easy. Don't need to do much to that. So our little lace is done. So now I'm going to move on to the green. I'm going to start with a YG17. And I'm just going to lay the color on these vines, on the leaves. Again, leaving some white that would be closest to our light source. And then the G07, just right over top it. And I'm just going to play it quick and loose with this guy, not getting into too much detail or intricate shading or anything. And G09, just on the farthest back side. Back there. Can't forget that leaf there. And leaf there. And then I'm going to skip all the way back down to the YG17 and just fill in the rest. And I'm going to not worry about that because she's going to get cut off. When she gets cut out, it'll trim out, so we don't need to worry about that up top there. Okay. I'd probably take my G09, my darkest, and just real quick reinforce those shaded areas. Okay. Do it all over again. I just kind of working in sections so it's all nice and juicy while I'm going. So I'll hit these leaves. And there's a leaf here. And leaf here. Let's see. Down here. Distinguishing the petals from the leaves is kind of a tricky part, but once I get these all mapped out in green, I should be good to go. Let's see. Let's do this. Part of the swing in the vine, probably. Okay, that looks pretty good. To the G07. Just quickly giving it a little bit of contrast. Not being super precise. And then the G09. And down here, and then fill it in with the YG17. Okay. See where it needs more shadows and go in with my G09. Okay. Now we're going to work on this side. Same thing with the YG17. Just leaving a little bit of white closest to our sunlight that's coming down from the right. Okay, so another leaf here, and that's a rose, another leaf here, and another rose. Okay, so then the G07, just quickly getting that color down. And G09. finish it off with the YG17. Just filling in the white that we left. Okay. My 09 just to reinforce those shaded areas. Okay, so we got our green done. Now all we have left are the roses, and you know what, I just saw something. I wanted to give her a little green band here. There we go, and that's just the G07. And a little bit of the G09. Call that good. Okay. Now for the roses. I pulled a couple different combinations that we're going to do. And I have an R35. I'm just going to kind of squiggle it in. That. R37. And the R29 is my darkest. And that, I'm going to be a little bit more precise with where I put it in. And then just go back down, blending that R37, finishing with the R35. And then kind of like the green, I'm going to take my R29, my darkest again, and really hit in where I want that to be darker. Okay, so I got that one. Now I have RV32. And R43. It's kind of a weird jump, but it's making the R32 gives me a little bit more blue pink to this R43, because the paper that I'm using is not a blue pink at all. So, but there's nothing that goes with R43 yet. So until I get some more in my R43 family, I kind of have to make do and play around. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm also going to bring in, for my darkest in this combination, the R35. And then just blend that with the 43 again. Give us kind of a pink little rose. Then I'm going to do another one of the red ones, so the R35. R37. R29 is my darkest. Down here. And then I'm just going to take my R35, color that rest in. As you can see, I'm really just kind of speeding through these flowers. I'm not doing a lot of detail work on them. Okay, so R32, or RV32, I mean. Get some pink on there. R43. our poor little lonely R43, and our R35 for my darkest sections of this pink flower, and the R43 to blend out, and just fill in with the RV32. Okay, and one more red guy, R35, R37. I'm still trying to kind of pay attention, have some highlights, the lighter areas, still always facing that light source that we have coming in from the right. Just kind of in a loosey-goosey kind of way. I'm not being super precise with this. But, you know, I still have most of my white all facing that direction here before I fill it in, so that my lighter areas will fall closer to that light source as well. Okay, take the R29 and just darken up the center there. Okay, so we got her flowers. Oh, the ones in her hair. I'm going to do the little one, the dark red. So that was the R35, R37, and a little bit of R29. And R35 to blend it a bit. Okay. And then the RV32. Oh man, I forgot a leaf up there too. Oh well, we'll get it. R43. And the R35. Kind of get that center and a little bit of, there we go. Blend it out with the R43. And now we got to do that leaf real quick. YG17. G07. And G09. And then just my YG17 real quick. Blend that. Okay. So what's left on our little Miss Happy Days here? I've got her necklace and her eyes. Oh, her eyes. Her eyes I'm going to do YG95. I'm going to do kind of a hazel. So I'm just going to take my YG95, color in this little crescent shape on her eyes there. And then I'm just going to take E34 and back here where it's kind of opposite the light source, I'm just going to put in a little bit of E34, and that's just going to give her a nice little simple hazel eye. So we have that. You know, let's just go ahead and use our YG17. Just the tip of it real carefully. Color in this necklace. A little ribbon. And then take the G09, just where it's going to be up here under her chin, a little bit darker. And we're not going to blend it. We're just going to lay the dark on top of the light. And work quick and wet so that it'll blend together. And then we'll do just a little bit of R35 on this. Probably it's a little heart locket. And then R29 opposite our light source. Again, no blending. Okay, so we got that. And let's use a little bit of the R43 and give her a little lip down here. Yeah, that looks cute. You can decide how much you want her smiling. I like that. Okay, so she's got a nice little lipstick mouth. We got her dress all done up. I am going to grab my E50 real quick. And I got some green on her finger here. And since the E50 was my lightest combination color in my skin combination, I'm just going to use it to push the green out a bit. And then I'll let that dry, and once it dries, I'll probably go in with my E21. And just reinforce that shadow on that side. And then fix the green so we don't have that problem anymore. Okay, so that part of coloring her, the Copic coloring, is done. And we'll move on to putting her onto a card. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a little bit. Bye.